So, welcome to Ring Runner. I've been wanting to really just get into this for a while because I saw it a couple of months ago on GOG. That's, for those of you who don't know, the people behind the Witcher games, Project Red, CD Projekt Red. They also run a digital distribution thingy on the internet, which provides lots of older games and things like that, and also some new ones that they'll put on there that are kind of in an old school style. And I kind of forgot about it. I wanted to do some stuff on it, but then I just forgot it existed for a while because of some other things coming out at that time and didn't get the chance. And then I saw a couple of weeks ago that Ring Runner had made it onto Steam through Greenlight, I think, which is really cool. So that reminded me that I needed to take a look at it. And I decided to get back into it, just delete my save and start over. So here we are. Might as well start out with this, because I'm impressed with this. The way the options menu, well, the way the whole UI of this game works is very interesting. It's very stylized, as you can see, with my mouse cursor being like a coordinate indicator kind of thing. Like the whole thing is a grid, and I'm pleased with it because I really like stylized UIs, but a lot of times, unfortunately, you see a really hyper-stylized interface and it takes away from how easy it is to use. But in this case, they've made it very easy to use. As you can see there, my mouse actually snaps up to the selection, kind of like I'm using a controller, but it's not annoying. And first of all, there are like a crap ton of graphics options, which is great. You've got quality sliders for just about everything in the game. I think the only thing I don't really see quality for is the actual ships themselves. But you never really see them up close except for in a kind of before the mission hangar screen, which I'll show you in a minute. And it also doesn't specify the type of anti-aliasing it uses. It's probably like, considering it can go up to times 16, just a more basic like MSAA or FXAA maybe. It's also got stuff like if the UI has this kind of like wireframe appearance to it, which you can turn off, but I like it on, with all this crazy stuff. And whether or not this background is here, even stuff like God rays in-game, and the game has actually got a pretty interesting style, which you'll see in a minute, as well as working VSync. Keeps it at a nice solid 60 FPS all the time, because I don't have a 120Hz monitor, so that's just fine, but if you do have one, it seems to work just fine from what I can tell. Also, you have a host of resolution options, and what's cool is it actually saves two different ones, which I don't see very often, which means if you want to turn it to windowed mode, it saves a resolution for windowed mode and one that it uses when you're in full screen, and they can be independent of each other, which is cool. It also has a borderless windowed mode, which is awesome. So, here's another thing about the interface. First of all, everything has a description you can read, which is cool, but watch this. If I just do that, if I just move my cursor out of the menu, it closes it automatically without me pressing a button, which is really cool. I think it's to fit the whole style of the game, being that you can do a lot of things with your mind, and it's just, again, with the stylized interface, it makes it fun to use, and it's kind of neat. And you can do the same. If I just go up here to this tab menu at the top, it automatically closes what I had selected and lets me go back up here. That's kind of cool. It's a little detail, but it's neat. So also you have like a crap ton of audio sliders for everything, which is awesome. It even has an audio quality setting, which is, again, something you don't see a lot, so I'm just kind of impressed with the menu as it goes. And of course, all the sensitivity settings and alpha settings on different sorts of sort of UI elements that you could want, really. So keep a look on all these, and I don't mean to scroll that much. There we go. And this is important. There are several ways of controlling the game. You can use keyboard and mouse, and it's also fully supported on a gamepad if you want to use like a 360 controller. It binds that up for you immediately, which is cool. But you also have different methods of control, and that is with the way you aim and the way that the game actually tracks your mouse. I have it to where basically wherever I point the mouse, my ship aims, but you can also change it to using controls on the keyboard to turn your ship instead if you feel that's kind of more analog, more your style, or digital, I suppose. And of course you can rebind everything, which is awesome, and there are actually lots of keys, and it's interesting just how many keys there are and yet how well it works on a controller, but I prefer the mouse, so again, that's something that you'll see once we get in. So let's go ahead and do that. So, single player, and I'm on a campaign now. After a couple of hours of play, the game really opens up and allows you to select different ships and customize your ships. You start, well, you don't really start in one. It changes you out fairly quickly through a couple of them to help kind of get you used to each different sort of them. And then eventually you defeat a certain king, no spoilers, and you will end up with the ability to go to other sort of galaxies, other systems, and do missions. So right now I'm on this sort of mission arc here, and I have just researched this ship. So let's show this. You have a shop, and in the shop you can buy equipment, which I don't have any available right now, and you can buy new ships, hulls. You can also do research. Research is interesting. It runs kind of like an MMO, almost, or a free-to-play game. It runs on a timer system that's real-time, meaning even when you're not playing the game, it still counts down, which is interesting. But this isn't like a free-to-play game or an MMO of any kind. It has that system in it. So you can choose to research, either paid research, which gives you some plex, which is money when it completes, or you can research a type of equipment that goes into a certain sort of node on what you have. In other words, new engines, new shields, new generators, new weapons of various sorts, things like that. Or you can choose to get a hull archetype. Now, you can't choose a specific ship, but you choose a hull. So there are fighter, caster, arsenal, rogue, grappler, and duo hulls, and each hull has a specific kind of use. Fighter tend to be kind of all around, quick, but have a good amount of weapons and things on them, but they're not really, really armored. Caster seem to have a lot of energy weapons and are pretty quick. Very fast, actually. Arsenal are basically like moving weapons platforms. They can deploy like sort of turret type things and things like that. They're fairly heavily armored, but they're not all that maneuverable. Rogue tend to be invisible or have like a cloaking device on them and be very fast and small and have various sort of indirect weapons, means to distract your enemies and then kill them very quickly. Grappler tend to be very close range. They have lots of cool things that involve almost like a gravity gun mechanic of dragging things to you and grabbing them and throwing them at enemies, like asteroids and boxes of space junk and stuff, which is cool. And then Duo are interesting. These, I'm not so sure about. I think they're actually meant to be manned by 2 players. But if you want, you can control them just yourself as well. It's kind of, I guess you could sort of play this in a co-op mode if you wanted, basically by having one ship that has enough controls and weapon points and things for 2 players to use, or you can show your prowess and use it yourself, which is kind of cool. So the way research works is you choose the general kind of what you want, and it will research it over a few hours depending on what you choose. You can also spend plex to fund the research and make it go a bit quicker. So right now I can spend about 7k to finish it up, which is about 2 hours of time. So it's not that expensive to finish it up, but I need to keep all the plex I can get because hulls can get very expensive. So this hull right here is the one I just researched. It is an arsenal type, the A5G Aten, I believe, and the G means it's also a grappler type, which is important because it affects what you can equip on it. So now, I guess let's go ahead and go into the mission. Every mission tends to have these bonus objectives, which give you more plex when you complete them. In this case, I'm supposed to get a hermit out of an asteroid for this lady, and the bonus is to best the hermit without using the sage ability that I have to slow down time. So we'll see how that works. Let's go for it. I'm on basically normal difficulty right now. Okay. Here we go. I'm in an asteroid field. This Nero character is inside your head. Very strange, but it's basically an AI that lives in your brain. This game does the thing of, it doesn't have voice acting for the dialogue, but every person, every character, actually, their dialogue speech makes a different noise when they talk. I've always liked that. I don't know why. That's kind of an old school RPG thing, but I like it. So, as you can see, the game is quite pretty in terms of its basic appearance. I mean, it's difficult to make space ugly, let's be honest, but still, it looks nice. It has lots of post-processing stuff, like this distortion effect. You'll see that distortion on, like, every explosion and rocket trails and your afterburner and things like that. It's a cool little effect, but we're gonna make our way up to this asteroid that's infested with a hermit. And as you can see, all these boxes on the side of the screen are all my different bindings, so it makes you think. You got a lot to take care of as far as all of your weapons and systems and things, which I like. It's cool. It makes you, kind of keeps you active. So, hello, hermit person. Oh, there he is. I guess I'm just gonna, oh gosh, get in the fight with him immediately. So all of those 4 bars on the side of the screen, as well as the side of his ship, the same colored bars, represent the same things. So energy, heat, shield, and hull, they're all fairly self-explanatory, really. Oh my goodness, this guy's pretty strong. So I've got some turrets that I can deploy. Wow, this guy's like not letting me. Okay, I'm gonna throw him out there. I've got basically a space shotgun, which you can't beat. Okay, this guy's definitely tough. I see why it wants me to best him without using the time macro, because that would make the fight actually possible. Whereas right now, I'm definitely having a hard time. So I'm gonna push out a couple of these things for him. I'm gonna grapple myself to him, and oh, I missed. Try to basically launch him into the asteroid for some damage. But he's actually quite difficult, it seems. He is not really letting me get too close. There we go. Gotcha. That's the sort of gravity gun-like thing I was talking about. It basically lets you suck in something and then force it away. In this case, I can use it to slam him against an asteroid. And there's an airstrike. Yes, I have an airstrike, because why wouldn't you? Or space strike. Whatever. Alright. Oh gosh. Yeah, he's definitely quite strong. But I think I got him. There we go. Nope, nope. Yeah, it's complicated. As you can see, the dialogue is very interesting. I really like this game's sense of humor. It's got a pretty, especially Nero, the character in your head there, he's got quite the sense of humor, and all of the writing is actually really good, in my opinion. The dialogue in this game's quite something. It really, it's an interesting world. It's very, very sci-fi, meaning it's far away from Earth, humans, things like that. The whole world you have to kind of learn from the ground up. It's very, very sci-fi, so all these weird races and systems and terminologies you've never heard before, and it introduces them in a way that's kind of natural and doesn't just explain a huge, like, bunch of information to you at once. It kind of slowly introduces these terms to you in a way that makes sense, which is nice. There we go, that wasn't too difficult. And as you can see, it even tells you what my research is at. Let's keep going. Yeah. Well, I have a pretty good sort of grappling setup with this ship as well, so I'm gonna try with this one, but if I need to, I can restart from the hangar any mission that I need and try a different ship, which is cool. So right now, Comet Cowboy, yes, complete the mission in 105 seconds or less. Well, I'm not sure if that's gonna be possible, but we're just gonna see what this ship does in this mission to catch a comet. And yes, there are AI ships, and you can command like squadrons of AI ships in a certain mode and things like that. There are more modes than just this sort of multiplayer. There are different single player. There are multiplayer and there are scenarios that you can do, which is very cool. All right, gotta go get that comet. Can I use the grapple tether on other asteroids to help boost me towards them? Okay, I cannot. Unfortunate. Nope. Okay, we're just gonna have to use the afterburner and go for it. This might not have been the best choice. It's not the fastest ship because it is an arsenal ship, but we'll see what happens. If I need to, I can restart the mission and go with the link or something, but it looks like I'm good. I still can't tether to it, which is unfortunate, but gotcha. Okay. Gotta go get this thing back to the Hermit. Of course, it's a giant comet, so I'm gonna have to kind of throw it around a little bit. This is an interesting one. As you can see, the missions are definitely varied. It isn't just a space shooter as far as fighting goes, there's actually a lot more to it, and that's interesting to me. The game, in a weird way, reminds me of another indie title called Hammer Fight. It used to be called Hammer Fall a long time ago, but it's, the gameplay-wise, it's nothing like it. Hammer Fight is a 2D kind of weird physics-based combat game, but the way that the worlds are very strange and not based in reality at all, they're kind of sci-fi, very alien worlds with lots of terminology and things that you just have to get used to as you play the game and kind of slowly learn what it all means. And the way that your character is captured in all these precarious situations and things all the time, and basically you're working your way out of debt from various agencies, and the fact that you're a sage makes everyone pretty much want to kill you on sight, for some people. This hermit seems pretty kind, though. Okay, that was not the thing to do. And the story is actually interesting. I mean, a lot of recent space shooters, like, say, Space Pirates and Zombies, or Star Sector, which used to be called Starfarer, they're not super heavy on the story. Space Pirates and Zombies has some story, but it's not necessarily the focus of the game. In this case, the game actually has a really interesting story, with really good writing, some interesting characters, and dialogue that's just it's pretty fantastic. It's quite funny. The Nero in your head, he is fueled by your blood sugar, so oddly enough, so he's constantly wanting like peanut butter cups and toaster pastries and like fruit punch. I don't know what his problem is, but yeah, story. As you can see, there's some weird terminology going on here. I only know some of it. The corona is that crystal inside your head, and a Sophia, I guess, is another race with horns, apparently. And yes, Xerix was another character who something happened to earlier in the game, and asked me to build a monument to his flail. He loved his flail. I don't know why exactly, but I'm not gonna question the guy. I'm gonna build a monument to his flail, whatever. Oh, he's gonna teach me a macro, is he? Alright, so you get to see how to learn a macro here. So we're gonna go ahead and do this mission as well. I did not get the combat in time, but oh well, I still completed the mission. Sage Shield. Oh, this is how you learn a macro. Very strange. You basically go to this weird space that's like sub-quantum in size, and you mess with some particles. It's actually really cool and very pretty. So it's explained by Nero earlier on. Alright, I can do that. Okay. Basically, I'm playing Missile Command. Awesome. Gotcha. This is kind of awesome. Okay, it's very sensitive on the mouse. Yes, I'm actually playing Missile Command right now. This is awesome. Alright. Nero is quite sarcastic, but he's kind of the explain things to me character that helps you out a lot with kind of learning how the world works, and it helps that you, as your character, don't really know a lot about this world because you sort of lost your memory in becoming a sage, so you have to have things explained to you that maybe a character that's lived in this world for a while shouldn't, so it helps with the narrative kind of that your character knows as much as you do, which is very little. Alright, getting a little tougher. I had another version of this sort of minigame which was capturing these particles that represented, like, the flow of time, basically. It was... oh no! The mouse control is very, very sensitive, but that's okay. Got this. We got this. I said we got this. I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish this, fighter research really quickly. I can fund it with about 5,500, which isn't bad, so let's go ahead and do that. There we go. What did I get? What did I get? An F5C Isosceles, the Frown Maker. It's a fighter-caster hybrid, which are my two favorite kinds. Oh. Very cool. We'll try it. We'll try it out, I think. It has a dimensional array. So, yeah. If I select it, what does it look like? It's under fighter. No, it's under caster. Oh, I didn't buy it. Derp. How much do you cost? 125,000. I can barely afford that, but I'm doing it. Got the isosceles. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's quite pretty. It's definitely quite pretty. I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, yeah, I'll take it. And as you can see when you first go into this, some of this stuff is already equipped to kind of save you some time, but you can still customize it if you want to. So we want the shield and salvation right there. We've already got the engine and things, shield and all that kind of... I don't have a lot of those, so that's fine. Oh yes, time loop. What's this? Yes, that's what I thought. It allows you to basically die once and come back. So we'll do that. Caster drive. Let's see. Oh, I've got so many useful things here. We have this archetype ability, advanced caster drive. It generates a burst of speed in a certain direction and also leaves an explosion behind you. We've got this one, which does the same thing but is chargeable. We have, let's see, this arcing cannon, which is awesome and I'm going to use because it shoots a laser that bounces between dudes. And we have a big cannon that fires orbs that go in a sine wave, which is really neat as well. Alright, let's keep going. Oops. Casters are very interesting, kind of energy weapon-based ships, and this is very agile because it's both fighter and caster, kind of hybrid, so that's cool. I definitely want to try out a duo ship eventually because they sound like they're quite fun. Yeah. Whee! Uh-oh. This has one of these boxes attached to the mission, which is you basically have to stay in bounds of this box, which is a very interesting mechanic. It's not in all the missions. I'm not sure exactly what it's meant to signify. I think it's just supposed to keep like an escort style mission going in a certain direction, so it doesn't, like say your escort doesn't get blocked off on an asteroid somewhere and stuck and killed, because that'd be really annoying. So that's alright, I'm okay with that, for sure. Is that what the Sage Shield looks like? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Alright. So yeah, I wanted to show this mission off as well. I normally would have ended the video earlier, but I wanted to show this off as well because this is more like what you're going to be seeing in your average sort of missions. So I wanted to show the actual combat as well, as opposed to just a basic duel. Alright, keep going. Charge up the sine wave here. There are charged weapons which have that fire out different sort of powers and things like that, which is cool depending on how much you charge it. There are lots of different types of weapons between beams and missiles and rockets and mines and things that seek, things that do an area of effect. They all have different classifications and it tells you all of these when you go to look at the info of a particular weapon, which is very important and I would recommend doing so. Even before you are able to sort of screw with your own ship's loadout, you can still look at what the bindings options are, even in missions where you're stuck with a particular ship, and it will kind of let you get familiar with exactly what you're using, which is cool. The game has a wealth of information available to you at any time concerning exactly what your ship can do and what it's equipped with, which is very useful. Yeah. Whoa. That bodkin there, that's a very fun caster ship to fly. So yeah, lots of weapons and abilities, lots of ships, and that makes for a lot of gameplay variety, which is definitely something I feel at least that a 2D space shooter sort of needs in order for it to remain fun over time. And uh-oh. Oh dear. And in this case, since it's quite story-based, at least the single-player mode is. Though, the middleist man. Oh, gosh. it helps you through. It becomes more than just kind of a want to see what happens next, better grind through a few more missions. It's actually very interesting to play because the combat's fun. Ships actually take genuine skill to fly around, and the way that the physics works, of course, is like Newtonian physics in space, so your inertia continues in a particular direction, so it's not easy to fly around by any means, but it's definitely fun. Use my shield there, and make sure I don't get shot down, hopefully. So yes, my heat-based weaponry is, in fact, not useful at all, because this thing builds up, like, no heat whatsoever, which is interesting. Oh, gosh. Missed. Missed. Oh, gosh. Come on. Oh, and I should also mention the soundtrack. The soundtrack to this game is actually fantastic. It has really good kind of ambient music as far as just going around in space goes, and some really nice sort of battle themes that are more fast-paced and interesting. It's definitely got its own style, and I like it. Even the menu music is nice to listen to. And like I said, the dialogue is very well written. Yep, can't abide kitten violence either. Good man. Okay. Yay, there's the memorial. I like this hermit guy. Yeah. I'm not sure what I'm gonna go do, actually. I'm guessing the game opens up a bit from here and allows me to go to multiple places, possibly. Also, is that an outhouse on the asteroid? Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. Calypso is the man that told you you were a sage and taught you your first time slowing ability. Hapti the smiling orb. What? Oh, good. Oracle Dvorak. Dvorak. Alright then. Gotcha. Ah, this is the person I was doing the mission for in the first place. I like her ship. Dull. The characters that you never see their face and still actually care about, that takes some skill, I think. Very nice. Alright, there you go, everyone. Ring Runner, Flight of the Sages. So this is also the sort of opening up part where you can choose to travel the rings now that you have an anchor drive, which is basically this universe's version of like a warp drive, and go to various points and do some stuff. So yeah, there we go. Thank you for watching, everyone. This video has overran a little bit. I'll see what I can do about that. And I guess I'll see you next time.